guys, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Johanna. For those of you who are new here, welcome. For those of you who are returning, welcome back. A great big shout out to my channel members for supporting my channel. Thank you. All right, so we are going to do just a chatty flip through of my 2024 Hobonichi Weeks. I am going to be using the One Piece Hobonichi Weeks January Start English Edition, and I'll actually be using the A5 logbook from Hobonichi in the black leather. This is was released in 2023, but I actually purchased it just a few months ago, and I think this was the bag. Yeah, I think this was the bag that it came under because the Going Merry has the red and white striped sails, while I believe the Thousand Sunny ship, and that's the Going Merry ship. The Going Merry is the first ship, and their sails were red and white, and the Thousand Sunny is the second ship for the One Piece crew, and I believe their sails are black and red. I've seen up to like 300 and something episodes. I'm currently rewatching it, and I think I'm on episode like 180 something, so we haven't gotten to the arc yet where they've introduced the Thousand Sunny. So the Going Merry actually has a very special place in my heart just because that's the ship that I'm the most familiar with. But this is the bag that the logbook came in, and this is the system that I'm going to be using. I think to include the bag, I'll just tuck this in the bag and then put this in my messenger bag when I go into the office. So this is a black leather logbook. It's got a pocket back here, although I don't have anything in it. I'm sure with where it's going to get just much love and patina. And this is the Going Merry face insignia. It's the character that's at the front of the ship. And then when you open it up, I've already got it set it up for 2024. It is currently Wednesday the 27th, I think. Yeah. That sounds about right. And so I'm all set to go for next week, since next week is nearly a full working week. And so as you can see, there is the map of part of the world in One Piece. I do have one of these A5 little notebooks, also from Hobonichi. Excuse the glare, but this is the One Piece January Start English Edition for 2024. I do like to keep my covers pristine, so there is a cover on cover, and then this will remain the same throughout the year. I actually got a little figure like this. Let me get it. From my brother for Christmas, and it's funny because it was a blind box. I don't know if it's easier to see this way. And so I could have gotten any of the characters, but I got my favorite character, which is Zoro. He is a character from the One Piece. It does come off the base here, but it sits very nicely. I don't know if you can see that. And then this sword and this piece of meat here actually come off. This one's actually easier to take off. Or maybe not, but they came off. And then these are the other two swords because Zoro does do the three sword style. And so along with that came this card here. So I'm just going to keep that in here. This is a card that was in a card game that my brother gave me. This is Nami. And then I've got the stencil that my friend Christy Marie Designs had sent to me. And then I have the other one that just will stay up here because I do like to have my name there. And this one I did purchase from her. This is a stencil sheet. Wow, that was difficult to say. Don't know if you can actually see it, but this I will just have in here. I don't know that I'll actually use it, but I do like having the One Piece items. And then this is a little piece of paper that came with the actual Hobonichi. And so if I show you my current setup, which is this right here, the only thing that will actually be transferring over is this right here. because I don't need more than one of these, but it is still one more day that I have of work for this year, so I'm just going to leave it in here until then. This I will not be transferring over, and all of this will actually just stay in here just for me to keep, and then I can always repurpose it later, but some of the information that I have in here will go into that little A5 notebook, and it just really reduces the amount of bulk that I'll be going into 2024 with. I've worked all day. It's actually been a really busy week, even though it's only been a 2-day work week so far. So if I stumble or fumble over my words, I'll try to edit it out as much as I can. But yeah, I really need to go to bed, but I wanted to film this first. All right, so I'm going to take this out as I go through the flip through. Now, that's probably going to be the biggest deterrent for me, is I tend to be a little oily to begin with. I can only use Vaseline on my skin, and I don't want to mar my stuff. I love the smell of this, but if I get it too dirty and there's no way that I can cover this because of the way that it opens, I might just put this back in storage and then reuse either that Moterm cover or the light pink one that I have. So I've done all of the setup on here. Again, I apologize for the glare, but that will go away in just a second. Now, because I will be using that band, that's actually where it will sit. Just in case I'm confusing you, because I'm a little confused myself. It sits back in the back pocket, and then this is how it will sit, because when it's sitting in my cover, see. Yeah, I didn't think that through, because the way that it was sitting in the other cover, the one I just showed you, I slipped it in this way, and so this back one was open. But now I'm going to be slipping it in this way, and that means I'd have to do something. I don't know. I don't know that I'll actually need this because the way that it closes. I'll definitely have to think about that a little more. Clearly, you can say I haven't used this system yet. Okay, so that's why I actually did more deco on this opening page, because originally this was just going to sit in there. And so every time I opened up my Hobonichi, I'd see this. And the one that I had for 2023, I didn't think I was going to look at very often, because I actually didn't use this thing until at least midway through the year. And so I just put a little bit more focus for this opening page. But again, I may not be using that system the way that it is now. We'll figure it out. It's not that big of a deal. I do like seeing my name on here. These are one of those peg stamps I had shown you guys before. I just put it on a piece of paper and then attached on here. Stickers, some washi, and then a sticker there, and then just a one piece. And it isn't fully decorated one piece. It isn't fully decorated like this. There's just kind of an amalgamation of all of that. Very simple for this intro page here. This will continue to be my period tracker. So probably during the New Year's weekend, I will update 2023, and I'll actually turn this into 2022 and then put the information there, because I've mentioned this before, but I'm in my early 50s, so I'm assuming that menopause is right around the door. So I want to keep track of my periods and having it in one place and keeping it in the current year, as well as having the previous year, 2022, 2023, 2024. I'll have the most information, and also it'll help me if I'm trying to figure out habits and whatnot. This is that yearly index page, but I really could not think of a use for it. So I just did some stamping on here. The word I chose was applause. Now this is actually a stamp that I have, and then I just did some outlining of it. But when I was going through my stamps, I thought, wouldn't that be an interesting word of the year? And then I looked up a quote, and I thought this was perfect. And it says, "The person who seeks all their applause from outside has all of their happiness in another's keeping." And that's from Dale Carnegie. And I thought that was very profound. Years ago, when I attended a like 2 or 3 day conference, it was like at least 20 years ago, they would have people just randomly stand up because it was a big ballroom full of employees from various campuses, and they would ask for a round of applause for the simple reason that we all deserve a round of applause, but we never want to take it. We are told, in a business sense, you should be humble and you shouldn't, seek the limelight. But every once and again, it is good just to get a round of applause, even if you're giving it to yourself, of all of the accomplishments. And even though I tend to go more snarky, I thought that was actually a good thing to remember. And then I had another stamp that says, "May you never outgrow bubbles." I think bubbles is such a cute word. And then this was something that I also had seen on Instagram, which says, "Embrace the glorious mess that you are," which is a quote by Elizabeth Gilbert. So again, all kinds of things happening here, but it's using a space that I didn't know how to use in the first place. I did keep December, and that's only because the only thing I ever track for my YouTube channel is once a year on December 31st. I will write down how many subscribers I have at that point. And so on New Year's Eve, I'll do the same for 2023. I only have data from 2020 going forward, so I couldn't tell you year over year how many subscribers I had increased by. It's not something that I am promoting. It's not something that I'm tracking. It's actually not something that I'm giving a great deal of thought to, but on a year over year basis, it's just interesting to have since I already have the data from 3 previous years. And then for the monthly section, this was another stamp that I purchased from Amazon. Right now, the only thing I have written down is I've mapped out all of the 3rd Fridays of the month, which is the day that the Crack the Vault video will be done. For the entirety of 2024, I will be doing some sort of journaling page in one of my journals on that day, so it just makes it easy for me to map out. I did not let it dry before I actually flipped the page, and so that's what that is there. But again, I'm not looking for perfection. It's not even something I strive for, so it doesn't bother me that it's there. I just thought it was interesting that it happened. So let me put this here. And then we go into the personal, and what this is I will only use this from January through December. I am not a planner, so I will not do any forward planning. I don't need it. Anything that I need to remember in future months, I'll just put on my office calendar because I have access to it on my phone when I'm in the office, when I'm at home. So this really is just going to be a place to either do some stamping if I want, or to track some videos, or to mark something in that respect, but it's not something that's going to get a lot of wear or tear. It certainly didn't for this year or even previous year. But the Hobonichi Weeks does come with 3 additional months, and I didn't need that. So I took Annette's advice, and I had purchased some vellum printed paper from Etsy, and I just cut it down and covered January, February, and March, just because I didn't want to see it. And then instead of trying to find a purpose for it, I just kind of did a collage. And so this is Luffy. I think this says hero. It's hard to get a translation when there's also a different language in the back of it. And I think this is either French or German. No, I think it's French. And then I chose the word gum, more so because Luffy ate the gum fruit, which gives him his devil fruit power, and I just thought that tied in nicely to that. And again, it doesn't really go by way of theme, but I've added a lot of these PET stickers along the way because I like the collage aspect as well as the floral aspect. And then for February, did something very similar. Vellum paper on the back to kind of take away the look of the monthly view. This is the Straw Hat group on the Alabasta arc with Princess Vivi. And so I chose the word here from one of my dictionary library series of friendly, because that's what they're all about, is making friends. And again, one of those little PET stickers that has a collage aspect to it. And then March, again, very similar, where it has the vellum printed paper. The word dynamic, because I thought this picture was very dynamic. This is Luffy eating ramen or Simon. And then again, a collage sticker. And I like how it doesn't seem to go, and yet I love the visual of it, that I'm bringing some of the One Piece elements in, but it's still in a style that I truly enjoy, because I don't want this to look like an anime or a manga, which is just a comic book in Japanese. I actually like that style here. So that's very interesting to me. This is the last month of 2023. People could actually have moved into December in their Hobonichi Weeks if they wanted to. I did not. I picked up this stamp from Amazon. It's a pirate stamp. It's not actually specifically a one-piece stamp, but I put a little one-piece sticker here and a little collage PET sticker there, and I just love the look of it. And it serves no purpose other than I love the look of it. Now we go into some of the things I'll also be working on during the New Year's Eve weekend. I will be looking up the Year of the Dragon, which begins February 10th of 2024. My Chinese horoscope is Rat, and I'll just go online and just look on what I should look forward to or expect or whatever for the Year of a Dragon. I did this in 2023. I enjoyed it. And other than the actual point in time when I was writing it all down, I never actually went back to the page. I don't refer to this during the year, but it's just something for me to journal about and think about in that particular moment. Same thing with my Leo horoscope. I will go ahead and do more decoration on here and just write, what can I expect for the year and things like that. And I have all of this space to play with for my horoscope for 2024. And then that weekend, I'll also be pulling a few tarot cards just to give me an idea on that aspect. As I've mentioned, I do like using tarot to do sort of a self-reflection, and I do a daily pull when I feel like it, because it hasn't been very consistent as of late. And then while I'm writing what the meaning of the card is, or the interpretation based on the artist, then I think about how it applies to my life. And this has been very helpful for me as my stress and anxiety has spiked heavily over the last few months, just with work and home and everything like that. And then I thought it would be good to actually start the year with some thoughts. And again, it's a plan for New Year's Eve. New Year's Eve is not a great time to film. Actually, this entire weekend coming up will not be a great time to film because the neighborhood, and not just my neighborhood, but surrounding neighborhoods, will be going crazy starting Friday through Monday, just popping fireworks. And so trying to work around that, even during the day, can be problematic. So I just plan to probably watch some anime or do some reading and then just fill in some of this as I go into 2024. And even though I've had this for a few months, I had no desire to start it earlier because I do want to keep my year comprised into one system. And so even at the end of 2024, I will finish out the year and then just use my new Hobonichi Fresh in 2025. I did want to do sort of an intro page into my weekly setup. I have not done my weekly setup. I will need to do that. And whether I do that off camera and then do a quick filming with you guys, I'm not exactly sure. Again, for this weekend, the filming might be difficult, although I am off on Fridays, so maybe I can get it in early enough on Friday and just do some deco here. And then every week, just like it has been in my current Hobonichi Weeks, this will move because my most used tabs are at the bottom. I decided to forgo the monthly tabs because I never use them and they're just such a problem to put on, so I left that blank. And it's funny because the names on the tags here kind of mean something to me. But I had ordered these a couple of years ago from Page and Ink. And every year as I use them, then I run out of of things to choose. Like originally I only had this one. I didn't find this one until later. And so for my weekly, it just, of the things that were left, schedule just made the most sense. And after a year of moving it every single day, it just gets really junky. So I won't be transferring it from year to year. I thought it's interesting. So I do not pre-set up. So all of my weeklies are absolutely blank. And then again, it goes into the final. Oh yeah, I'm like, wait, did I do this wrong? But it goes into January 1st. And so my final week I'll actually probably have in both places, because it will be in both places, since the week actually starts midway, or the year actually starts midway through the week. Whew, that scared me for a bit. And then it goes right into the notes pages. The decorated covers, anytime you see a cover that has any decoration, is only a regular Hobonichi Weeks. The megas only come in solid colors. And so the only difference between the two is the regular Weeks has 70 something pages. The mega has 200 something pages. I actually wish there was a size in between that had like 140 pages. I think that would be ideal, because 200 something is actually a little bit too much, but whatever. So there's a whole bunch of things on here I just covered up, but I also put a little spot where I can journal at the end of the year just to say goodbye to it. Again, just doing various different collages on here. And then this is Luffy with the Thousand Sunny, and then the One Piece anime. Now, as of right now, I do not have any ideas of what I'm going to use this space for. However, this is my Hobonichi Weeks from 2022. And as I was going through this, I actually really liked the look. Not so much of this highlight reel, because it's actually, I'm capturing it in something else, but just doing a little bit of journaling in here. And so I might do the same here, where there's no pressure. Either I do it or I don't, no big deal. But I have a space where I can do some deco. Now, I know when I picked up my Hobonichi, I was thinking about reducing my use of stickers and washi and deco, just because I did not want this to chunk up very much. So if you look between these two, I don't know that it's such a great comparison. But this is a Hobonichi Weeks. It already has some things filled into it. And then this is a fully used year worth of stickers on a weekly page. And you can see it gets thicker, obviously, but it's not super thick. And again, it's a regular, so there's only the 70 something pages in here. But I just decided, no, doing the deco on a weekly basis for my weekly section motivates me to get in here on a weekly basis. Not only just because I like looking at it, then every day when I'm writing all of my completed tasks, it also just motivates me to come back and do it again. So I really find the deco aspect of this very soothing, but also it helps motivate me to keep using this. So this section, again, it's an open section, but the last like 30 odd pages, I'm actually devoting to my finances. And I had the same in my 2023 as well as my 2022. There's some tackiness to the washi tape here, so that's why the pages keep sticking. And again, just a little bit of light deco. This actually will not move, and on the month-to-month basis, I'll actually have a different tab to go ahead and mark where I need to work on. But what I am going to do that's new for 2024 is I do want to save a bit of money on a monthly basis, even if it's only like $20, and then at the end of the year have that just as a savings. I also do need to put some money aside on a monthly basis as well, if only $10, to help for my Hobonichi order at the end of 2024. because I do like the functionality of this system, and it just helps if I'll have some money saved up. I'm really going to try to focus on just doing low spends for 2024 and just using any extra income by way of overtime or tax refunds or whatever, and just paying down debt and putting into savings. I mean, I'm saying that right now. Who knows what 2024 will bring? I'm an emotional shopper and I'm a mood hobbyist. And those two things sometimes can be very dangerous. And then in last year's flip through, someone had asked how I actually track my bills in here. Last year, I did it front and back. So it was January, February, March, April, May, because I didn't have a lot of space because a lot of the notes I had devoted to something else. But in this one, I'm actually giving 2 pages for each. It'll give me a lot more room to write on. And I just made a long list, just wrote some lines. I don't know that I'll actually need all of these lines here, but the way that I track it is every month over month, I'll write down the name of the credit card that I have, what's available, what's due, the date that it's due on, the total amount of the credit card debt, how much I paid, when I paid it, and what bank I used, because I actually do have several different bank accounts that different things come out of. And I usually pay the majority of my bills on my paycheck in the beginning of the month, and then just a few more bills at the end of the month along with my rent. Although I don't necessarily line item the rent here because that's just... Okay, editing Johanna here. I'm not sure what happened, but the video cut out. And so luckily I was towards the ending of it anyway, but this is my section for my finances. At the back of this here, I have never used any of these pages. So just like this, if I do use it, it will be a tester. That's it. I don't use any of it. And the only thing I thought was interesting were these recipes to use on a seasonal basis, because other than this matcha one, I hate matcha. It tastes like grass to me. All of these actually sound really interesting. All right, guys. Well, that is my flip through and setup for 2024. I did this over a period of actually a few weeks just because I wanted to enjoy the process and just really think about how I wanted to use pages, or more importantly, how I wanted to decorate pages. And then, as I said, I will be setting this up, whether it's on camera or off camera, I have no idea yet, but every week I will be continuing to do some sort of deco, just because it does motivate me to come back in here and use it and write down my tasks, and it does make me feel both creative and productive. All right, guys, well, I'd love to know what you guys think of the whole setup, including the cover and all of the ancillary things here. It is lighter, which is good, and then I think I will be transporting it to the office in the pouch here. I'm only working in the office maybe 1 or 2 days a week. As of right now, that could change. And so I think this will be easy enough to transport because it does go into my messenger bag where I also transport files. All right, guys, well, that's it for me for now. And as always, aloha.